Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots. We made it. We made it to another Sunday. Oh my gosh. I didn't think that it was possible, but we made it. Welcome, everybody. Trying to mash buttons and talk at the same time is a little bit difficult. It's kind of like walking and chewing gum or having a conversation when you're walking down the stairs. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Sometimes that's difficult.
Well, maybe it is just you.
Hey, Andy, welcome to the show. You just finished up with drill. Awesome, man. Welcome back. So today, what is the date today? Oh, my gosh. It's the 24th day of February. Dude, it's almost over. February's almost over. It's only taken 3 months.
Thank goodness.
And you know what I like to do now is a day in history. So this day in history on the 24th day of February 2008, Fidel Castro retires after spending 52 years and 101 days as dictator-in-chief of Cuba. And he subsequently died 8 years later on Black Friday. The anti-capitalist died on Black Friday, so that's pretty cool.
So this day in history. Trying to figure this out as we go here.
What are you trying to figure out?
Oh, how to to pin. I've never pinned before.
Okay. We probably can't pin on the main page. So tell you what, I'm going to pin on the radio page. I don't think we have the power to pin on the main page. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the address for a person that I would like to see everybody send a birthday card to. And this brings me up into the first story. But before we get to the first story, how's everybody doing, man? Did you have a decent week, a snow-filled week, or are you kind of weather-free?
We had a snow-filled week, as in got bad enough that
It's just funny because my daughter and I went for a walk today. We took little Oliver out for a walk, and no jackets. It was probably mid-60s, and it was nice. So I came home, and my daughter went to her room to continue her studies, her schoolwork. And I called my parents just to see what they're up to. They live in Wisconsin, and they had a lot of snow up there, too. They said the wind was just howling. The snow was falling, it was blowing, and it's supposed to get down past freezing and approaching zero for tonight or tomorrow. So, counting my blessings, man. It was a beautiful day today. It was a beautiful day today.
See, we had bad enough that, well, let me see. We ended up with over 2 feet of snow.
Feet, not inches. Feet.
Feet.
Wow.
We got to the point, geez. I have watched many accidents over the last week.
Now, is it just snow, or is it like really wet snow, or freezing up and turning into ice?
It's all of the above.
Yeah.
It's not just snow. It's the fact that it warmed up and then it got cold again, and then we ended up with snow on top of it.
Great.
And so people couldn't see the ice. In fact, was it Friday, of all things, it started raining. And then within an hour, that rain froze. And then on top of that, it was snowing and wind.
That's pretty much the same story that my dad told me.
Yeah, I mean, it was not fun. That's all I can say. It was not fun at all, and I was happy to be able to say that I didn't have to go out a lot.
Good. Stay inside, man.
Oh, I stayed inside, and hey, Jake, good to see you. We were just enjoying the warmth, and I'll tell you, yeah.
And here I'm down here in Texas, just going. I'm kind of second guessing myself because the weather has been really, really nice.
Yeah,
it's almost 70 degrees during the day. It gets down into the 40s at night, but the threat of a freeze is not there anymore. So here I'm planning out landscaping. When do I start bringing the grass back to life? And I'm like, it's only the end of February. Give it till at least maybe the first or second week of March, and then go ahead and lay down your sod or plant your plants and stuff.
I was just talking to my wife about that. Because okay, we have to make summer plans starting this week. The place that we want to go to at the end of the summer, you book 6 months in advance, and if you don't, like within a day or two after it opens up, there's a chance it's gone.
I got you.
And I'm sitting there going, not only do I have to worry about that, at the 1st of April is when we call in to make all of our reservations for the summer for our camper.
Mm-hmm. One
day, the 1st of April, they turn on the phones, and that's when you call. And if you don't hit that day, there's a good chance you're not going to get the days you want.
Damn, where are you going, man? Just between us. Just between us.
you, me, and our millions of friends. There's a recreational center, military reservation off base where I'm at, and it's on a lake.
Oh, so it's relative. It's local then.
Yeah, it's like 60 miles.
Mm-hmm. That's easy.
From where I live. Yeah, not even 60. Shoot, what am I talking about? Maybe 30?
Oh.
Yeah, it's 60 there and back. So it's not far, but it doesn't take much to get out of the city and into the countryside here.
Right.
And we're surrounded by lakes. So we're actually going to be going out to a place that's military reservation, so it's relatively safe, and it's quiet at night. It's kid friendly, and it's adult friendly. And I mean, things shut down at 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening. It gets nice and quiet. People go around campfires and just kind of get drunk and wander into their campers.
Old people like it when it's quiet.
Yes, we do.
And you have no idea what my poll questions are.
Uh-oh.
For the week, so I just brought up that poll based on your statement. Along with Paul Revere, who was instrumental in organizing the Boston Tea Party. Was it Ice? Was it me, Kaz? Or was it Owl? Cast your votes. That was completely unplanned. It just happened to work out. Well, good. I mean, where'd you go? You guys went to Hawaii last year, right?
Yes, we went to Hawaii.
Sweet.
The island of Kauai.
It just seems like you just came back from Hawaii.
It does feel that way sometimes. But the funny part, the difference is a lot of things have kind of changed since Hawaii. Hey, Branko, good to see you. A lot of things have changed just between when we were to Hawaii and now, and all of it's favorable as far as, I mean, if you think about it, Minx was gone for those couple months, and I was able to do a Tuesday show. My wife had a major surgery, and she's feeling so much better, so life has gotten better there for her.
I'm glad to hear that, man.
Oh, I don't go into details. That's not mine to tell, but at the same time, there's so many things that can cause you to hurt in life. Pain is stress. Stress is anxiety and depression. And she finally was able to have the doctors finally agreed it was time for her to have this one surgery, and her life has gotten so much better. She's so much happier.
Good.
And that's what matters to me. I mean, happy wife, happy life type thing.
That is a true statement.
And I mean, just things ebb and flow, and more and more I've been taking this time to really try to dig in. And I mean, people might think it's kind of funny. It's easy to get caught up in the rat race. It's easy to get so caught up in what's going on around you that you forget to be who you are. And when I was doing the Tuesday show, I was reminding myself who I am. And it made more and more, it makes more sense to me. And I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Like I told you before the show, I'm doing some streaming with games. And yeah, not everybody understands why would you stream games. I actually, when I watch other people stream, when I play games, I get tense. But when I'm watching people play the games, I'm not tense. Because they're the ones who have to make the jump, or they're the ones who have to do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Not me. I just sit there and watch.
I never got into gaming. I mean, really, seriously, the only gaming that I've been in, I mean, as far as PC gaming goes, I've played Civilization. All the iterations up to like Civilization 4. As far as a console game, I lived when I was in the barracks. I lived in a quad, and one of the guys in the room, there's four rooms to a floor. One of the guys in one of the rooms had a Sega Genesis, and I used to play. I used to play golf.
Okay.
Really, I mean, I'm not a gamer at all. So
well, and that's just it. I like specific games. You mentioned Civilization. I play Galactic Civilization, which is another Civilization. I like probably the same reason you liked. It's strategy, and it's getting things researched and built up. Right.
You're right. What if anybody doesn't know what Civilization is? I mean, you probably do. I don't know. I don't assume anything. You're starting with, you have no knowledge of the world, and you don't have any tools except for sticks and stones. And the goal of Civilization is to do the research and to build a community and build a cities and whatnot, kingdoms, and develop technology. And as far as Civilization goes, your goal is to colonize space.
Yes.
Galactic Civilization is you're taking that a step further, and you're doing the galaxy.
You're taking planets.
But it's not a bunch of, you have to hit X, X, Y, Y, up, down, left, right, and then you do these things happen. It's not like that.
Yeah, you don't need cheat codes.
No, you don't need cheat codes.
With those things, they're very simple, and everyone has their own strategy and tactic. And that's kind of that's Galactic Civilization. That's the reason I play it. It is simple. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
I play some RPGs. Again, simple, straightforward.
Rocket-propelled grenades?
Role-playing games.
Role-playing games. I told you I'm not a gamer.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh. I think the very first computer game that I played was on an Apple, and it was on a 5 1/4-inch floppy, and it was called Ultima.
I've heard of that.
It was all text-based. There was no graphics or anything. It was all text-based.
Yeah.
move north 10 paces.
Yeah.
And if you run into something and then then the computer tells you just ran into an orc.
And you have to figure out what to do and everything.
With text, you just say, okay, draw sword.
Yeah.
You don't have a sword. Then you do an inventory for weapons. What weapons do I have? Oh, you have a sling. It sucks. It was really bad. But hey, you get pretty good at typing.
Well, if you like that, check me out on either Thursday or Friday, because Tuesday I have a dental appointment. I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate, which is a role-playing game.
Cool.
And it's a Dungeons and Dragons, and it's actually pretty cool. It's one of the first real good, graphically pleasing Dungeons and Dragons they came out with back in the 90s.
So are you doing that on Facebook, or are you doing that on Twitch, or where are you going to be?
I actually do that Facebook. I do it.
That's the Grunt Gaming Networks.
What?
The Grunt Gaming Network.
I'm also doing it on the Grunt Gaming Network.
Awesome.
I'm going to be doing that Mondays and Wednesdays. Let me do this. I'm on the Grunt Gaming Network Mondays and Wednesdays. They've given me full reign as to what I play because I'm an old man. And I can, at that point, that's what I plan to play. They don't mind me doing it either. They said that there's a lot of people out there that like the old stuff.
So if you did like a shuffleboard game, do they have those? I mean, old people like shuffleboard, and that's kind of retro. No.
Yeah. If they had it, I probably still wouldn't play it.
Sweet. All right. Well, I guess we got to get this party started here, because we have the address to a gentleman by the name of Joe Cuba. Now, not to be mixed up with the musician named Joe Cuba, but this man is an actual Army Air Corps veteran. He's turning 100 years old on March 2nd. World War II veteran is about to hit a milestone birthday, and he has asked for the public's help in receiving 100 birthday cards. There's a picture of him in an earlier part, or in a broadcast. It has him holding up a sign that says, "I'm a World War II veteran who will be turning 100 on March 2nd, 2019. I would like to receive 100 birthday cards." So here I thought to myself, I said, I think we can help make this happen.
Yep.
So my daughter and I went out, and we each got a birthday card for Mr. Cuba, and it's going to be going out in the mail tomorrow. And I'm going to encourage everybody out there. I mean, write this man a note, send him a card, get him a fruit basket, something, man. Just let him know that we're out there. We're thinking about him. Joe was in the Army Air Corps during World War II. And what he really wants for his birthday is to receive 100 birthday cards, so we can make this happen. There's his address right there. It's Joe Cuba, Brookdale Senior Living Solutions, 918 Midwestern Parkway in Wichita Falls, Texas, 76302.
And I've made sure that it's all in all the rooms also.
Mm-hmm.
And Shipwreck has made sure to post a little bit too. So
excellent. So Mr. Cuba enlisted in the Army Air Corps before settling down in Texoma. He enjoys getting together with his fellow veterans at the retirement center, and he is thankful for his health. So let's show Mr. Cuba how thankful we are for him by sending him a birthday card.
Exactly. That's cool.
100 years old. The dude looks damn good for 100 years old.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
I wonder if Ice looked that good when he was 100?
You just never know. He's one of those guys. Maybe that's why the reason he hides his face.
he looks just like Sam Elliott, or he is Sam Elliott. Who knows?
Who knows?
So along with Paul Revere, Who else was instrumental in organizing the Boston Tea Party? A lot of people seem to think that it's Samuel Adams. I think he was busy baking or making beer. 7% of the respondents said you. Nobody said me, and then 13% said ice. 16% for ice, 6% for you. 77% for Samuel Adams.
Well, I'm old, but I'm just not that old.
Oh, there it is. It was Samuel Adams.
Yeah. But that's okay.
I swore it was ice.
Uh-huh.
I knew it wasn't me. I think I had that day off or something like that.
Yeah. You were actually trying to go and find the Orville brothers.
That wasn't until a little bit later.
A little bit later.
Oh, I've got some aviation. We've got some aviation news a little bit later. So.
Oh, cool.
And I've got an engineer joke.
Oh, jeez.
This is going to be a good day. All this fun stuff.
It sounds like you are having fun.
I'm having fun. If I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't be doing this.
This is true, and I don't blame you on that one. You got to have fun if you want to be able to enjoy life. Right?
I guess so. Things aren't always going to go your way, but, screw it.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, this week wasn't a great week as far as weather, and the weather does affect me, but the one thing I realize, with my problems, the fact that I'm not as bad as I used to be, and I even thought about that. The fact that I'm not as bad as I used to be, I have to be happy about that.
Well, beats the alternative, right?
Exactly. If I wasn't doing as good as I am now, I wouldn't be here. But, well, we do have another story if you want to get into that.
This is a Valentine's Day story, right? Which was roughly last week, 10 days ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure this guy isn't living this down, and he's not going to live this down for a very long time.
A Kentucky man's confusion is going viral after his wife revealed that he got her turnips instead of tulips for Valentine's Day.
It's a simple mistake, man.
Oh, a wordplay, sure. Nina Harris of Hartford said her husband, Alan, told her in the early morning on Valentine's Day that her gift had arrived. When I got up, I had my first cup of coffee, and he said, "Oh, your turnips are here." And I said, "Turnips?" Harris said she had told Alan the previous night that she wanted tulips for Valentine's Day. He wasn't paying attention, she recalled. He just said, "Yes, I know."
Yes, dear. Yes, dear.
You're not reading this just because you don't want the tongue twister of tulips and turnips. Alan Harris admitted he wasn't paying close attention to his wife's words and thought she was asking for turnips for her garden. I went and got the bucket and put the turnips in the bucket that says "I love you" on it. Alan Harris said. I went in there, got her coffee, and here you go. The remorseful husband said he ended up also getting Nina some tulips plus candy and balloons.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not going to live that down, man. And it's an honest mistake. I love it, though.
But at this point, she can sit there and say, "You don't listen to me."
You never hear a word I say. I might as well not be here.
Yup. You say that a little too good. Have you heard those words?
Oh, Jesus. There's
too
been
many memories.
And I think everybody goes through that. Anybody who has been in a relationship or been married, it's like, you didn't hear me when I said this, that, or the other, and yeah. Did I process it correctly? No. But it was not,
Well,
but with Mr. Harris, it wasn't malicious. It was an honest mistake that she's not going to let him live down for the rest of
exactly.
his life. It's going to come up at parties. It's going to come up at family reunions.
And now everybody's going to know it because it got printed.
Well, it went viral in a news broadcast. So, of course, it was local to Kentucky. I'm not sure if that made national news, but
Well, I think it made national news.
so I've got another story. I'm not sure if this made national news or not, but this may affect. And I was wondering. I've got my own opinion on this. I'm going to share the story, and then I'm going to share my opinion on this story.
Okay.
There's a National Guard captain named Ed Rashton. He just returned from duty in the Middle East with his unit.
Yeah.
As Labette County High School's assistant principal and athletic director, Rashton wasn't technically back on the clock when he showed up to his high school's prom in the spring last year after almost a year of duty overseas. He thought chaperoning the dance would be a good opportunity to catch up with his students and to see his coworkers. Yet something felt odd after a conversation with the high school's basketball coach at the prom. He found out why when he returned to work the following Monday. The basketball coach and the head football coach had been given Rashton's athletic director job while he was deployed overseas. His principal told him that those coaches would co-lead as athletic directors permanently, while Rashton would keep his assistant principal duties. Rashton also no longer would receive a $10,000 a year stipend for his role as the athletic director, since Labette County Unified School District 506 wanted Rashton to focus on academics. He was confused and he was crushed, knowing soldiers' jobs are generally protected under federal law when they return from active duty. Concerned about the school officials' stance, Rashton followed Army protocol, and he took his concerns to a U.S. Department of Defense unit that handles civilian employment concerns for soldiers returning from duty. That unit forwarded Rashton's case to the U.S. Department of Labor. Now, I'm sure that a lot of Reserve and National Guard folks go through this. That's why they've got specific people to handle these very specific problems.
Exactly.
This past September, U.S. Department of Labor investigator ruled that the district is non-compliant with the Uniform Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act of 1994 by not returning Rashton to his athletic director position. Congress passed the USERRA law in 1994 to protect military members from discrimination by their employers and to guarantee prompt reemployment in their civilian jobs when they return from duty. Rashton said the district maintains that it has done nothing wrong. After months of negotiating back and forth with Rashton, the district has yet to return him to the athletic director job he held for 2 years before deploying. In a rare step, the case is now under investigation by the U.S. Justice Department. It's no different than if I were the head football coach or the head track coach or the head volleyball coach. If I got called away to duty and then came back and I was still a teacher, I would still be a teacher and a coach. I can't imagine that they wouldn't put the head football coach into his position. Rashton said that the district has offered a $10,000 stipend for his military service, but he refused. Not that I have an enemy here, but I feel at times like people aren't supporting me, Rashton said. When I say people, I say those in leadership positions in our district. Rashton is still confused why the district has taken such drastic steps to keep him from the athletic director job.
Interesting.
So that's the story. Now, here's my opinion. School districts, at least in my experience, having an ex-wife that used to work in the school district, she was hired as a counselor. Now, in addition to being a counselor, she held other positions of additional responsibility. My opinion is that Captain Rashton is an assistant principal. That's his job. His additional duty was athletic director. So it's like the school district is getting a little bit more bang for their buck by letting Mr. Rashton be an athletic director and to aid in those things, along with being an assistant principal.
Okay.
So he got his assistant principal position back, and that's where they want him. What he didn't get back was his additional duty as athletic director. He wasn't an athletic director. He's an assistant principal. So yeah. I'm thinking possibly that the school district is in compliance with the USERRA law by allowing him to come back as the assistant principal. And I think it'd be more like a negotiation between Mr. Rashton and the school district, whether he gets to regain his position as athletic director.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, I do. Okay. My sister is a teacher.
Okay.
And part of being a teacher is a lot of times they ask you to do extra duties.
Mm-hmm.
It's how they gain extra money. And
right,
they rely
right.
The school district does, okay, because otherwise they would have to pay full salaries. So they appoint you to do stuff. Like I have a niece, she's a teacher, okay, of music, but she also was a volleyball coach. Now, that's something that when you take the teaching position, they ask what you are capable of doing on top of your teaching position. All schools do it. And so for them to sit there and go, okay, you were hired on as the assistant principal and we don't owe you the other job. Well, I'd go with that if he had just been appointed. But he's been doing that job for 2 years.
Correct.
I would say at that point he has a good case because they didn't fire him from that job before he left. And he'd actually been given the assignment and the stipend. So that means he was actually given the job. And that's a school district's way of not having to pay for a full-time head of the athletic department.
I can really see both sides of this.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those. You can see both sides, but the problem is this law came about after the first desert, okay? And the reason it came about is because a lot of people came back and they were not able to go back into their jobs, which,
we're talking about reserves and National Guard people. Their jobs weren't their jobs weren't protected. They came back from a war. They may have been gone a couple of months. They may have been gone an entire year. But then to come back to find that their position has been filled and their services are no longer required.
Exactly, and the thing is, he left with both those job positions. And had they just hired him, I can see where they'd say, well, you hadn't been at that job. But he'd been at that job for 2 years. So, no, I think at that point they're wrong. That's just my thought. I'm not trying to go, pro-military all over the place, but
it's really in this case, it's really hard to stay unbiased.
Yeah. Oh, Stan in WTF Moments Room said, I had a specialist who worked for a well-known government contract company. When we returned to Florida and he reported to work, they told him he told him his new job was in Arizona. He had to move himself.
Yikes.
Yeah. See, that's the other problem is you still get employers who will try to interpret the law and say, well, we kept his job position open, but the job position moved.
You know, they do that at my job too. They're like, okay, your job, if you want to, you know, we still want you, but if you want to still remain in the employ of this company, then you're going to need to go to Amarillo.
Yeah.
Or you're going to need to go to Edwards Air Force Base, or you're going to need to go to Patuxent River, Maryland. And it happens a lot, and that's just the way things are.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And so there is that question of, I think truthfully he will probably win. I don't understand the reason that school district is fighting him so hard.
Because they found two guys to pick up the ball, and they probably did a magnificent job. Mm-hmm. And the school district is probably just trying not to, piss on the efforts of the two folks that stepped in. But I don't know, man. And Ship's got a good point over in the mixer chat. He said there's a lot of gray areas here. Yeah,
and I'll go with that. There are. So, hello, Casey. Good to see you in the room. It's good to see everybody tonight. We've got some good conversations starting up a little bit.
Hey, Polo Stairs is here. I was hanging out with him for a little bit last night.
Oh, really?
He was playing some PUBG over on his mixer page.
Okay.
So I was hanging out. He got his bot works. Our bot doesn't work over in Mixer. Sergeant Botface is not around anymore. Well, he is around. He's just. It took a while for his bot to get going, but he's got some really good trivia questions, like how many dots are on a pair of 6-sided dice.
Whoa. That would be an interesting quick math.
Yeah. Pips, they're called pips. And I learned something new because I had to look it up.
Ah.
Well, okay. I didn't look it up. I mean, I knew that there was a name for those dots on a die, and they're called pips.
Well, you brought up something watching PUBG. A lot of people will, like you said, you don't really watch. You don't get people watching games. See, I like to play games, but at nighttime, if I play games, I can't go to sleep afterwards.
If you play games, yeah, your brain is probably going 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Exactly.
Or you're actually playing the game in your head.
You do. And you're like, what could I have done? Or, you start picturing what you did. It just rattles in your head. Whereas if you just watch someone game, you're not stressing about it. At that point, you can just sit there and go, oh, cool. I didn't think of that. Oh, hey, okay. He has the same problem I do in that area. And so you're not stressed about it. So there's a couple of people I'll follow on occasion just to at night when, if there's nothing good on TV and I'm sitting there going, I wouldn't mind watching something. They're streaming, and that's what I do. So
the next time you're on Mixer, go and give Polo Stairs a follow, and you can check him out when he goes live.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I like watching PUBG. For those that you don't know, that's a shoot 'em up game.
Player unknown, PUB, player unknown battleground.
Yes.
Hey.
You know your stuff.
I'm basically a gamer now. Well, you know what I do like watching is a lot of the WTF guys will get together and they'll play. What's the one where you knock over liquor stores and hit hookers and Grand Theft Auto, GTA 5.
Yeah,
it's great. That's just a lot of fun.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, there are a lot of games out there that can really be a lot of fun. The problem is gaming can be just as addictive as social media, if not more so. And you have to allow yourself at least, and I say this very leniently, at the least an hour before you go to sleep. Or you will regret it.
I was shopping for. I just finished my little office area in my room.
Yeah.
And I needed a new chair. because my daughter has my old desk and my old chair, so I needed a place to sit down on, and I wasn't going to sit on a kitchen chair.
Yes.
So while shopping for office chairs, they have a whole fleet of gaming chairs, which are like special, so you don't, so you can sit for long periods of time and still remain comfortable.
Yes,
These things are fantastic looking. They're like
yes.
space age.
I have one that actually reclines.
Golly.
And it has a leg bench that comes out.
It's like a lazy boy for gamers.
It is really.
It's a lazy boy without being as bulky as a lazy boy, but probably maybe 70% as comfortable.
Yeah. Polo says leg rest. Yes, I have a leg. Mine has a leg rest. It has an adjustable headrest, and it reclines.
And it's kind of funny too, because I don't game. I am not a gamer. I'll watch games, and I'll watch gamers playing games. There's stuff on YouTube where like the gamers are doing things, and they do these from all over the world, and people are playing that are in the UK with people that are in India, with people that are in the United States. So you've got this immense amount of this time lapse. It might be in the morning in the UK, but it's in the middle of the night here, and you're like the next day over in India. And there's like one guy playing, and he's like running around in circles because he fell asleep in his chair.
Yeah. No, there's actually a guy who fell asleep while gaming, or while doing a broadcast. He was gaming, and for three hours he was sleeping, and he got a high. He hit like 1,000 and some views.
Because people are probably going, "Hey, check this guy out. He's not doing anything. He's sleeping."
They were. And they're like, "Hey, what's going to happen when finally he wakes up and he realized what had happened?" He looks at the views. He's like, "Damn." Yeah, 900 views.
That's great.
There was a dude sleeping with 900 viewers the other night.
Snoring and having a good time.
Oh, you got another poll up.
I do. Besides Australia, kangaroos are also native to this country. Japan, New Guinea, Singapore, or the Philippines?
Interesting. I'm not sure. All right.
So how about our next story?
I was about ready to say that. All right. Nashville, Tennessee. A drug treating PTSD in our veterans could be killing them. Prazosin is a blood pressure medication commonly prescribed to treat PTSD nightmares. Only 2 drugs are approved by the FDA to treat PTSD, and prazosin is not one of them. Zoloft and Paxil are the only approved drugs. Retired Sergeant Alan Chapman said he takes 10 pills a day to treat depression, PTSD, and all the other side effects that comes with working in a war zone overseas. I've got so many medications, it takes a while to take them all in the morning, said Chapman. He served in the 230th Signal Company of the National Guard. He spent time in Afghanistan from 2011 to 2012. When you get back, you're used to all that high-speed stuff, and then people are just slow, Chapman said. It's one of the reasons readjusting is so hard and why Sergeant Chapman went to the VA for help. I was referred to a psychiatrist, and he tried different medications, but it took a while to find the right balance, to find the right medication, said Chapman. One of those medications is Prazosin, a blood pressure medicine that a VA doctor prescribed him to help with nightmares. I didn't want to go to sleep. There are times I didn't want to lie down. I just didn't want to go to sleep, Chapman said. Over time, he realized his nightmares weren't getting any better. In fact, he said they got worse. Finally, Chapman took himself off the medication, too afraid of the side effects. Dr. Von McCall of Augusta University recently did a study on the drug. He found responses like Sergeant Chapman's aren't uncommon. We found that not only did Processin not seem to do much as an advantage to the suicidal ideation, it seemed to reduce the degree of improvement that we see in the nightmares and the general sleep disturbance, said the doctor. He said patients who took a placebo saw more of an improvement.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
Crazy, but not unusual.
So when I looked at this story,
yes,
I did a little bit of digging. So looking at drug information at a drug information database, Prazosin is used as an alpha blocker, meaning that the drug is used to widen the blood vessels and reduce the strain on the heart. Nowhere is it stated that alternative uses for that drug are to treat depressions, nightmares, or PTS. One of the more infrequent side effects of Prazosin is minor depression.
Yep. A lot of the blood pressure medications actually have minor depression problems. So that doesn't surprise me.
That's just crazy because, I mean, if people are getting, and apparently this is happening, it's widespread.
Yes.
People are getting prescribed this without FDA approval.
Yes. And that's the unfortunate part. Okay. Right now there is a strain through this VA psychiatry departments of trying to come up with a quick fix, trying to come up with something that will help. And instead of addressing the real problems and going after, like I always preach, they're looking for the quick fix that will shut them up and send them on their way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing what they used to do in Vietnam and Korea after the Korean War, is they're trying to go in alternative routes with medicine that is not necessarily good for any of these things, to see if they work. And if they get one person that says it works, they spread it around the VA lines, and all of a sudden they're all trying it.
Hi, Adam. I just saw your comment over on the main page. He says, "What's this about Prazosin?" A soldier was prescribed Prazosin to help him with PTSD nightmares. But it's Prazosin is used as to mitigate blood pressure, and it's causing more problems than it is solving. And then Justin says that he honestly believes that this isn't the only thing that we've been taking that's making it worse.
And you're right, Justin.
I think that's absolutely correct.
You're right. There's a lot of stuff in PTSD. Depending on who you talk to and how you look at it, the doctors, most of them that are working on it, have not gone to battle. They're lucky if they even have seen close to battle. And a lot of them don't have the military training at all, so they don't even understand us. Then add on top of the fact that they have mandates of trying to get guys better. They will sit there and they will throw everything that they can think of at it. What works? There's not a lot that does. And I'm not going to sit there and preach about what I do, but I know my stuff works. There are types of therapies that do have some validation and are capable of at least helping. It just comes down to each individual, and that's the one thing that psychiatry hates, is you actually have to figure out what is the soldier's problem, because each individual soldier has an individual problem.
I mean, maybe Prazosin does have some kind of use in that. I don't see that based on the description of the drug and what it's used for, and the list of alternative uses for that drug, neither of which are depression, PTS, or nightmares.
Yeah.
I would like to see some peer-reviewed studies.
Brandon, this is Prozocin. That's the problem is PTSD. There's not enough studies, and after Vietnam, they learned a lot, but a lot of people didn't write down stuff, and a lot of people kind of blew off what was learned, and now they're trying to relearn it, but they think because there are new medications out there that they should try them.
I mean, dude, during the Vietnam War and shortly thereafter, they were still doing electroshock.
Tell me about it. I was actually there.
So
I worked on a psychiatric unit. I still saw Vietnam veterans. I had Vietnam veterans that were always seeking psych techs out. I've actually witnessed electric shock therapy.
Hey, Trace, I hear what you're saying, bro. He says that the VA is getting. He says they say that the VA is getting better, but the VA is just finding different ways to hide all the crap that they've been doing.
Yes, you're right. Okay, they experiment on us a lot. Okay, that's the reason. Man, I'm really gonna watch what I say here. What I do, and what few others do, works, and the reason it works is because we've been there. And we know how to make things work. Medication, I'm going to tell you right now, medication is a Band-Aid. They found this out after Vietnam. Okay, as a psych tech, they gave us a history lesson on PTSD. Okay, no joke. And the one thing they sat there and preached to us is with PTSD, medication is a Band-Aid at best. It may take care of some of the symptoms so that you can calm them down so that they can get under control. But what it really comes down to is getting them to do certain things, certain talks and other things. Okay. The problem is they don't want to do that anymore. They want to go back to medicine. They think the new medicines are the end all be all, and they aren't. They're just a Band-Aid. They have always been a Band-Aid. I apologize, Cos. The whole PTSD thing with the VA irritates the hell out of me because I had to deal with it as a psych tech. I know what's real and what's not. And the fact that they're pushing this stuff, they're telling soldiers, we heard this, they're actually telling soldiers not to talk. I couldn't believe they actually tell soldiers not to talk to people. That's the last thing you do. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm not a doc. I'm not a psych tech guy. I don't suffer from PTS. But it just seems to me that PTS will present itself differently in each person that it affects. Sometimes it's not even PTS. It might just be some kind of a behavioral disorder.
Yes.
Or it might be there's so many different formulas
yes
that have the same outcome. Someone with maybe some behavioral issues,
yes,
it appears as though, this guy's got PTS, he was in the war, so they throw drugs at it and it doesn't do anything.
Well, you're right. And see, that's the problem is you don't know. Guys can come in and they may have behavioral problems and war just may amplify them. Okay, doesn't mean they have PTSD. Okay, it doesn't mean it. I'm working with some people right now that you talk about night terrors. The first thing you have to do is get the dreams under control. And there are ways to do that, but it's not medicine.
I was going to say that just seems scary to me, to start modifying somebody's psyche to mitigate a problem that they're having. That's just that seems extremely dangerous to me, but I'm a layman. I don't know about these things.
It can be scary, But, well, you know you know me, okay? What I do, the way I approach things. I believe in going after the things that are going to make people get better.
Mhm.
The one thing we all need is sleep. If you have night terrors, you're scared to go to sleep. And not just a little. You are so scared of what's going to creep into your dreams because you wake up panicked, you wake up in a sweat, you wake up wondering where the hell you are, disoriented. It's scary as crap. It really is. And the thing is, there are ways to take care of it. Medication doesn't work with night terrors. They don't have anything that does. And
Well,
that's the go ahead.
It just seems like it's almost snake oil when they're throwing medications and trying to modify your dream patterns.
You're right. You're right. It is. And that's the problem is psych gets away with a lot more than regular medicine. They always have.
It seems to me that would be true because with a medical issue, you can put your finger on it and say, that's
Exactly.
it. The reason why his abdomen hurts is because his liver's fucked up or his pancreas is jacked up.
Yep.
With a mental issue, you can't say, "Oh, that's it, right there." It says here in the book, on my little flow chart, that if the patient exhibits behavior 1, 2, 3, it's because of this.
And that's the problem is with psych, there is no definitive answer. Everybody is an individual. Everybody has, and you actually have to listen to each individual patient to understand what you need to be dealing with. And that's and the snake oil, you're right. They will pump stuff into these people, like the electroshock therapy. Someone sits there and says that's inhumane. You're right. It is inhumane. I've seen it. I know that on very few occasions it's needed, but it's not for PTSD. They're scared right now. The medical community, the VA medical community, is scared because they're getting nowhere, and we're pumping out more and more people with PTSD than we had in Vietnam because of the way that this war was handled, as far as the fact we needed more reservists and National Guards than we did before. It was active duties, but now it's reserve and National Guards. And when they come home, they're thrown into going from battle to civilian life. And you and I both know that change is hell.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Add on top of the fact that they've got to deal with all their military problems while they're still being a civilian, and they've got to deal with their home problems while they haven't had to deal with that for a year or so. All that stuff just does stuff. So, yeah, it's, again, I mean, I could really, it could be a very long conversation,
right?
but I don't think we need to go there. We're at the top of the hour.
We are at the top of the hour. I didn't even get to my last story of the hour, so we'll hit that first.
That sounds good.
After this break, we're going to do a little short break, and here is, Jay Reddy actually posted this on his Facebook today, and it's an epic rap battle between a father and his son, so I hope you guys like it. I know a couple of you who are normal, regular listeners to the show actually had seen it and commented, but I hope you guys enjoy it because it's pretty damn cool. It's very cute. All right, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Hang tight.
This is Randy Couture, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio.
You! Fam, listen. It's Quentin versus Beto. We playing different. I can mention that you poop without warning. So keep an arm and a hand distance. That baby face won't help you. Even if you had a grand entrance. Since I'm giving you bars, That means your new name is San Quentin. He messing with me? Yo, get your mans, bro. Get your mans. Get your mans, yo. Wow, get your mans. Yo. What's your life like, Quentin? Nah. What's your life like, Quentin? What's your life like, Quentin? Every day you get pocket check. You eat like a king. 2-parent household. And you get lots of rest. Yo, you not a threat. Yo, get your mans, bro. Get your mans, bro. You can't come at me with gangster talk. You can't come at me with gangster talk. Claiming you popped in text. I bagged your mom. I tell you when to go to sleep. I don't have any losses yet. Bro, what's so funny, yo? What's so funny, bro? This is strictly talent. You thought you would take me on? Yo, this is strictly talent. You thought you would take me on? It's a challenge. I peeped your wait, I can't even get to it. Yo, Q. This is strictly I'm trying to cut. This is strictly I can't.
WTF Nation Radio.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for rejoining us. This is WTF Nation Radio, and the show is called Kicking It with Kaz. Today is the 24th day of February, 2019. Welcome, everybody. I'm joined here, my better half, Mr. Owl. How's it going, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. I was able to take a deep breath after all that talk about PTSD.
And I was just talking to you offline, man. It hits nerves because it almost seems like soldiers that have a legitimate issue with night terrors and PTS are getting just drugs thrown at them, and here go see a psych doctor, and let us know how things are going.
And that's just it is, and I when I was doing the Tuesday show, people started reaching out to me, and they started bringing it to my attention, and PTSD, one of the biggest things, especially for soldiers, is night terrors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very scary situation because you're out of control. It's not voluntary. It's not something I know guys that will do anything. They'll drink coffee. They will do whatever they can to get as little sleep as possible.
God, I keep on thinking of Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street type stuff, man.
Oh, it's worse. It's so much worse. And like I said, I didn't mean to beat a dead horse with this, but like I said, in the military, my job used to be working with this type of stuff. And they phased us out in the 90s. They gave us the history of Vietnam and PTSD. They taught us how to deal with this stuff. I integrated what I've learned over the years, plus I had PTSD. It's not an easy thing. Medication, it is a Band-Aid. It is a scary thing because that's what the VA wants to do. Their mandate is to be able to say they did something for you.
Okay.
And, yeah, and Ship says, some vets just want to take meds versus talking to a person. Okay, that's a great thought, but when you have PTSD, this comes from experience. Medications, you're going to have PTSD the rest of your life if that's what you're going to depend on.
It just seems like that puts like a filter on things. It doesn't really treat the problem. It just masks your symptoms.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, it masks your symptoms. Most of the time, all it really does is numb you. It's still there, the problems are still there. It numbs you to the point where
you don't give a fuck about it anymore.
Yeah.
And along with not giving a fuck about it anymore is like you start not giving a fuck about a lot of stuff.
And that's the problem, is right. it avalanches. Yeah. And that's where you end up with guys with depression. That's where you end up with guys committing suicide. Is because, well, if you don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck.
You know, and this kind of is against, in the description of the show, it says another Sunday in the books for the WTF Nation. Hope you had a great weekend. Stop by for a little bit of news that won't irritate your last available nerve. Whoops. So let's go on to the next story. Let's see what we can.
Let's do that.
Let's see what nerve, and this might do it, but I don't know. Gosh. Army Specialist Winston Hensley, age 22, of Springfield, Georgia, was deployed to Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan as a soldier in the Army's 1st Cavalry Division when a man acting suspiciously detonated an explosive vest beneath his clothes on November 12th, 2016. The suicide bomber was identified as Ahmad Nayeb, an Afghan national who had just finished his work with the Fluor Corporation. The explosion killed Nayeb, 3 U.S. soldiers, and 2 fellow Fluor employees. Another 16 people, including Hensley, were wounded. In a new federal lawsuit filed last Wednesday, Hensley accused the company, Fluor, of failing to supervise Nayeb as he built an explosive vest on the job using the company's tools and parts.
Oh, my gosh.
Fluor's negligent supervision of the bomber enabled the bomber's attack against the Army. And the lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court in Greenville, South Carolina, one of Fluor's U.S. locations. It added that Fluor well knew that in Afghanistan and on military bases in particular, suicide bombers were a constant and dire threat. Still are. Mm-hmm. Nayeb smuggled explosive material used inside of his vest onto the U.S. base. And he completed it during his work shifts using string and an electrical switch from the Fluor work site, as well as nuts and bolts that he used for shrapnel. A 2017 Army investigation found, quote, a lack of reasonable supervision facilitated Nayeb's ability to freely acquire most of the components necessary for the construction of the suicide vest, and the freedom of movement to complete its construction.
Wow.
Now, this is an immensely long article that I'm not going to read. Okay. There are several case notes that I took, and it's just he was an Afghan national and he worked for Fluor, but he had been hired by a third party labor contractor based in Virginia. He was loosely supervised, and no one from Fluor has taken responsibility for that guy's actions. He worked the night shift alone in a hazmat center where he could borrow tools and assemble the projectiles that he used. And investigators later found that he used a lot of those little objects to build his suicide vest. He was able to smuggle small amounts of homemade explosives onto Bagram Airfield for the vest over a 4-month period. The Army memo said that he hid the explosives in a smokeless tobacco bag or something similar, and then he hid that inside of another container. He was employed there for 5 years, so he had he was not out of place being on the base. He was required to have an escort, but he was not escorted because he'd been there for 5 years.
Yeah.
So there's just so much bad going on here, and that's complacency.
Yeah, and you can't be complacent, no matter what.
So, I mean, Hensley's just one. There's 3 soldiers that got killed, and 16 others were wounded. So
Quite honestly, I hope this one sticks. I think if you're going to use private contractors get involved, they have to take responsibility.
They need to. I mean, but these contractors get these contracts, but then they hire they subcontract the hiring process. Lots and lots of companies do that. Fluor's not the only one.
All right.
It's really frustrating. I promise you, no more. Let me see. Nope. No more last nerve pounding stories. The rest of them are going to be good.
Okay.
I promise.
Let's go ahead and let's move on to another one then.
I like this one.
A clever Michigan boy who needed help from his dad to work the TV got in touch with his father using the family's doorbell camera. The boy was recorded by the camera when he set off the Ring camera motion detector intentionally so it would send a notification to his father's smartphone. I love it. The footage shows the boy get excited when he is successful in connecting with his amused father. The boy asks his father how to tune the TV to the kids channel, and his dad walks him through the steps. Oh, that's precious.
I think it's awfully clever of the kid. Now,
technology at its best.
One thing I was wondering to myself when I was reading that story is why wasn't that kid in school? But it doesn't say that wasn't on a weekend. And I was also wondering where's that kid looks like he needs a babysitter.
Yeah.
So where's the supervision? He looks, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, if that, you're right.
But he's a smart kid.
Hey. You never know. Or maybe he wasn't alone. Maybe someone was there. It's just they didn't know the answer to the question either.
Who doesn't know how to turn on the kids channel? That's cool. I mean, I think that's a good story. I like that story.
I see you have a poll ready.
Oh yeah, another one. See, what was the last one? Besides Australia, kangaroos are also native to New Guinea was the correct answer on that last one.
Okay, and
this new one is which gemstone was once believed to prevent its wearer from becoming drunk?
Huh.
Garnet, amethyst, topaz, or an opal?
That's an interesting thought.
Who came up with it?
Well, you ready for the next story?
Yeah, this one's a little bit more of a smart kid. Very smart kid, actually. Memphis, Tennessee has made the news. Some kids spend their time on social media. Other kids spend their time playing video games. When it comes to 14-year-old Jackson Oswalt, his time was spent in a laboratory working on a nuclear fusion reactor.
Oh, yeah.
This Memphis teen finished his reactor and achieved fusion at the age of 13. He's regarded by experts as the youngest in America, maybe even the world, to accomplish it. Jackson built his steel machine made up of vacuums, pumps, and chambers that are capable of smashing atoms together through force in a smoking hot plasma center that releases a burst of fusion energy. If you've ever wondered how the sun or other stars are powered, the process within Jackson's nuclear fusion reactor is comparable. He began working on his fusion reactor at the age of 12, after concluding that he didn't want to dedicate his leisure time solely to playing games like Fortnite. He began scouring the internet for nuclear-related things, because that's what held his interest at 12 years old. During his research, Jackson came across Taylor Wilson, who in 2008, at the age of 14, garnered international recognition as the youngest person to achieve fusion after building a fusion reactor in his parents' garage in Texarkana, Arkansas. Jackson, like any 12-year-old, thought he could beat the record set by Wilson. From there, he got to work. The start of the process was just about what other people had done with their fusion reactors. After that, I assembled a list of parts that I needed. I got the parts off of eBay primarily, and then oftentimes the parts that I managed to scrounge off of eBay weren't exactly what I needed, so I had to modify them. Building the fusion reactor was no game for Jackson. He converted an old playroom in his Memphis home into a functioning lab, with the financial support, of course, of his parents, who spent between $8,000 and $10,000 over the course of a year collecting the parts that he needed to build his reactor. That was the easy part. Putting the fusion reactor together and testing to see if it worked was the real challenge. He relied on trial and error and the open source Fuser Research Consortium, which is an online forum for amateur physicists, to ensure that he was taking the proper steps toward successfully building a fusion reactor and hopefully achieving fusion. After a while, it became pretty simple to realize how it all worked together. So there's dude, completely, totally an overachiever. That guy, that kid's going places.
Yeah, no kidding. How many people are lining up to give him scholarships already?
Right.
I mean, AL1 Camo says, Sheldon Cooper, move over.
Yeah, it was that little Sheldon guy. I mean, it's really cool. His father, I mean, there's a backstory here. His father is an engineer. Mm-hmm. So he had a lot of guidance here. It's not like this guy went willy-nilly in his garage or in a room in his house just building stuff.
He managed to do it hours before his birthday.
Yes, he did. Let's see. Outside of his safety concerns, Chris Oswalt was astonished, who was the kid's dad, at what his son was attempting to do. Being a parent of someone who was as driven as he was for 12 months was really impressive to see. I mean, it was an everyday grinding, every day learning something different, every day failing and watching him work through those things.
Yeah. Wow. That is really impressive. Ari says he accomplished what Iran hasn't been able to yet.
Oh,
Embarrassing
right.
for the Revolutionary Guard. I love it. Oh, well, there is hope for our youth yet.
There is. Maybe he'll become a pilot. Maybe he'll work in a nuclear laboratory. Maybe he'll discover something.
Exactly. Speaking of pilots, though,
Do you have a pilot story?
I have a pilot story.
Sweet.
Adelaide, Australia.
Yeah, it's Adelaide.
Adelaide took an artistically inspired flight path on Tuesday morning. Australian News reported that between 8:53 a.m. and 11:57 a.m., a flight training pilot in a Diamond Star plane followed a course that drew two penises, then spelled out, "I'm bored," all of which could only be detected by a flight tracker. The flight tracking company Flight Aware shared an image of the tracked flight. It is fairly common for pilots to get creative and trace words or other images in the sky while they fly. Australia Civil Aviation Safety Authority spokesperson Peter Gibson said that flight path drawings are uncommon but not unheard of. All pilots plan a track for their aircraft to get between where they're going from and to. What that track looks like once it shows up on radar, of course, is another thing entirely. The pilot behind Tuesday's aerial penis graffiti, whose name has not been released, works for Flight Training Adelaide and was flying a plane with a new engine and was conducting a test flight in order to prepare the plane for instructional flights.
So that was like a 2-hour flight?
Let's see. About 3.
So if you follow it down there at the bottom of the screen, where PA is, that's where his flight originated from. Mm-hmm. So he's probably flying up there. He's gathering the courage. He knows what he's going to do, and then he takes a left. And if you go to FlightAware, you can actually retrace this. He flies north, and then he heads west, and then he heads back north again, northeast, and then he does his first penis, and then he flies up the coast and he does his second penis, and then he flips back around toward the south, and he actually flies out, "I'm bored." You can actually follow this. It's very sped up, where it does the entire flight in probably 30 seconds. It's great. It's beautiful.
Oh.
But you think, he's in the middle of doing his penises. Okay, I got the okay, here's the right ball. There's the left ball. All right, on to the next penis. I don't know, man. That guy's probably laughing his ass off.
And you being of a aeronautical engineer type person.
Yes. I have a very deep appreciation for this artwork. This is artwork. There's a if you go and do a Google search, you can see like in right here in the state of Texas, they had UT, University of Texas, Hook'em Horns, was playing a game. I think it might have been the Red River Shootout, which is against OU, Oklahoma University. And dude got in his plane and he flew and he did the outline of the state of Texas and the Longhorn.
Yeah.
Over where it was on the west side. It was like around over Abilene. And it looked just like the state of Texas and a Longhorn going across the front of it. It was great.
Oh, wow. Things people do when they have time.
Yeah, because these flights they cost gas, but this guy here in this case in Adelaide, he was on a test flight, so it's not like he had to pay for the gas. He just had to fly the course.
Yeah. Jeez,
it's wonderful. Promote ahead of peers.
and as Alexandra says, now that's new for the Mile High Club.
Excellent point.
One way of looking at it. Yep.
Yeah. So, as I said, I'm in the great state of Texas, and
yes.
lately there's been measles issues and other rubella issues in different parts of the country, but Texas has a fair share of measles outbreaks.
Really?
There's been another measles outbreak. Or not another outbreak, but another case of it has surfaced. Another measles case in Harris County, which is in Houston, brings the state total to 8 confirmed cases of a once eradicated disease. Vaccine advocates say disease outbreaks like measles have been on the rise since 2003, when Texas started allowing for non-medical exemptions to vaccine requirements. The number of non-medical vaccine exemptions has skyrocketed over the years, putting public safety on the line, vaccine advocates say. For most, a vaccine is a life-saving tool. For others, it's an instrument of fear. The reality is that we've seen a rising voice in regards to the anti-vaxxers. Vaccine advocates hope to change that. In 2003, after an article linked vaccines to autism, the Texas legislature passed a law allowing patients to choose not to vaccinate their children for non-medical reasons. There's different reasons, religious reasons and whatnot, but there are specific non-medical reasons that you can opt out of getting yourself or your children vaccinated. The article was debunked soon thereafter and over again, but the law has still stayed in place. In Texas, about 2,300 students had non-medical exemptions in 2004, compared to nearly 57,000 exemptions in the year 2018. It's no coincidence that since that time, we have seen more and more outbreaks. Vaccine advocates say parents who don't vaccinate their children are putting those who can't get vaccinated at risk. So far, there have been 8 confirmed measles cases in the state. In North Texas, 25 school districts have had to be temporarily closed due to the widespread flu. Vaccine advocates say that too many parents are swayed by erroneous information on the internet. And there's also stories of, my child was vaccinated and they had an adverse reaction. I'm not saying that they got autism. They just had an adverse reaction to a vaccination.
Yeah.
So then the parent is all not looking for alternatives to these vaccinations, but they're just saying, nope, no more shots for my kid.
Yeah, when you're in the Army, that doesn't even matter.
No. Well, We were doing it was after the first Gulf War, and we were doing, there were rotations going to Kuwait and back.
Mm-hmm.
We were on the bubble for one of those. There was a soldier, he was an E6, and we did an EDRI, an emergency readiness deployment exercise, where you go into it's like an all-day thing, dude. You go into the gym, they make sure your legal paperwork is in order, they make sure all your medical records are in order.
Yep.
They put you on a scale, they weigh you as a group, you get on the plane, and then you fly away.
Yeah.
We flew to Vegas and we came back. But this E6 conveniently lost his medical records. He goes, well, I can't find, my medical records are lost. I can't go. And they said, yeah, you can go. We've got copies of your records, but in order to satisfy this EDRI, you're just going to get all your shots now. And I think what he didn't want was, he didn't want to take the GG shot.
Jeez. I saw soldiers that did that when I worked in division. They'd sit there and say, well, I don't have my shot records, so I guess. And it's like, well, we have your shot records. You don't have your yellow shot records. And since we at that point can't confirm anything, since it's been put in your regular records, anything that's not in your regular records, we're going to have to redo. And we've seen, we've loaded people up, and I feel bad for them, but I don't, because they were, everybody knows you don't lose your yellow records.
I've still got my first yellow record. They've been misplaced, and I've actually misplaced them, but I've got them. I've had to have two. Yeah. But I've got both of them.
And that's just it, is you don't lose them.
No. Because they're just going to juice you back up again.
Oh, big time. And this was a lot of people. Did they do air guns with you guys?
When I was in basic, we did the air guns.
We tried to avoid using them, but when we don't have enough needles, we'd have to pull out the air guns. Those things really are just so unnecessary. But yeah.
Well, the thing is, with the air guns, you can do like 3-4 shots at the same time.
Yeah. The problem is they are known to do more damage than they are reported on.
I remember just being scared shitless. Mm-hmm. Take your shirt off, hold it in your left hand. If you're right-handed, go in this line. If you're left-handed, go in this line. And when you get up there, don't move. Don't move, because this thing will slice you open.
Yep.
I'm like, oh God. I didn't move.
And then afterwards, the push-ups.
Oh, definitely. But the thing is, it was after the typhoid shot. Mm-hmm. That next day, the next 2 days, it seems like every time you get a typhoid shot, you gotta there's a record PT test coming. It seems like that. It might even be true. I don't know. It just seemed like after every time I got a typhoid shot, there was a record PT test coming. Well,
people don't understand. The only way you're going to get over some of those shots is to actually use your arms. So drills, we're told, after they come out, push-ups. Make them do the push-ups.
Yeah, we were doing push-ups anyway, so it was nothing new.
Yeah, well, by then, yeah. Alexandra, these adverse reaction people need to be explicitly
specific
as to what the reactions were. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the fence with the whole vaccination thing. I think they've put out way too many vaccinations. There are some I think need to happen. There's some I really question, but that's just me.
I question. When the HPV vaccine came out, and my daughter was turning 12, the doctor, you take her in for the yearly physical before school. They were like, hey, do you want the HPV shot? It was not mandatory. I don't even know if it's mandatory now.
It isn't.
But I let I said no, and both my wife and I agreed. But then when my daughter turned 18 and turned an adult, she decided to opt in on that.
Okay.
She got HPV, she got meningitis, and several other shots that are available but not mandatory.
Yeah. Well, and that's fine. Especially going to college, that's a smart thing, because a lot of things are in the college arena.
Oh yeah, I mean, because all that, it's communal living in the dorm.
Yes.
So you might just want to make that decision to get vaccinated, whether you need it or not. But she's really good. She gets her flu shot. She gets everything that's recommended by the doctor. I mean, doctors know more than a layman, what's necessary, what's not necessary. Plus, having a doctor in the family, she tends to lead us. Okay, yes, you need this. No, you don't need that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we do have a Florida man story.
We do. But it's a good Florida man story.
It's a good Florida man story.
We bag on Florida a lot because a lot of crazy ass stories come from Florida.
It's because of the heat.
Sometimes Virginia.
Sometimes Texas.
And what do we had? We had one from Arizona.
Yes, we did.
But now we've got another Florida story, and it's a decent story.
A Florida church is drawing attention for a weekly service welcoming some unusual parishioners. Dogs. Now, remember all the dog stories we've had? A dog theater.
Right.
A dog pub.
Yeah, I've got a problem with that dog pub, though.
Now we have a dog church. Father Albert Cutie, rector at St. Benedict's Episcopal Church in Plantation, Florida, said the facility has been holding dog-friendly Saturday services for about 10 years. Can you really pray and leave a loved one behind? He said the canine congregants are remarkably well-behaved while sitting in the pews with their owners. We sometimes have to have 10 to 12 dogs at a time, Cutie said. You never really hear them much unless they encounter each other after communion, and then they begin to bark at each other. But everybody expects that. Cutie said the services are particularly attractive to people who live alone with their pets. What I love about this service, and I think that's the reason that we have it, is that many of our people do live alone, Cutie said. They are elderly, they've lost their spouse, or they've lived alone for a long time. And their dog really does become their companion in every way and their closest family member. He said other types of pets are welcomed in the church once a year for a blessing of the animals. Remember that story on blessing the animals? The Catholic Church?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Sorry, choking on water here.
Oh, go ahead. Why wouldn't they be welcome in God's house? He said. They're God's creatures, except for cats because they're mostly assholes.
I added that.
I was going to say, I do not think a minister would say that. I'll get you for that, Cross. I will get you.
Thanks for reading the print there.
You got me. If you don't know, I love to post cute stuff to help people smile on my John Al page, and I post a lot of kitten pictures as well as otter and sometimes dogs.
And I sometimes supply Al with said pictures and whatnot. I'm always sending you videos.
Yes, you are. And he's allergic. He's very allergic to cats.
I am.
It's not that he hates them. It's just he's allergic to them. So he'll mess with me with the whole cat thing. and I'll get you. I will find a way. I will find a way to get you for this.
This wouldn't be a problem if you read through the.
Now it comes out. You have a poll.
I have the final poll question. Okay, let's see, what was it? What was the last one? The gemstone once believed to prevent its wearer from becoming drunk was amethyst. That was the answer to that question.
Okay. This
question is, a lot of great inventions, a lot of really great inventions are discovered by accident. Teflon was one of them. The Teflon coating for pans was one of them. Another one was Velcro. And this one is bubble wrap was accidentally developed while attempting to develop what? And your options for answers are wallpaper, synthetic cloth, carpet padding, or insulation.
Interesting. Huh. Oh, we'll have to see what that one comes out.
I had no idea when I was looking at this. I'm like, what makes sense? So the funny cause goes, carpet padding. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, the funny cause is the one that added in cats are assholes. Yeah, I'll get you.
Well, in some cases they are.
I categorize animals or cats and dogs like this, and don't get me wrong, ever get me wrong. I love both, okay? But I categorize dogs as infants to early toddlers. They have to be watched. They can't exist without you. They have to have contact, even at minimal, at least every 4 to 8 hours, because they have to go to the bathroom. They can actually die without human contact. Dogs have been known to get depressed without their humans. So I look at this, and they need more attention and more help than cats. Cats, they don't need you. They can go to the bathroom and not without needing you to get them to a place and causing a spill without causing a spill or an accident.
Okay.
And you can put out a food and a cat will nibble on it all day. They don't just go at it and then they're without. And they don't have to have you to exist. They can be, I mean, you can work, come home, they'll be happy to see you, but they don't become depressed. So
I think my dog is a cat also. It's crazy. And I've had dogs where you feed them once a day or twice a day, and it's like, you put the food in the bowl and it's like, rah, 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 and it's gone.
Yeah.
This dog here, Oliver, you put something in his bowl and he's like, oh, okay, cool, it's there. And he'll graze all day long, a little bit here, a little bit there. Unless I add, like on Sunday mornings, I make a breakfast for myself all week long. So yeah. I have it's sausage and eggs. Mm-hmm. And I put it in a container, and those are the containers that I take to work, and I eat breakfast at work.
Yes.
But every Sunday I'll put a few drops of sausage grease in his bowl, and the dude goes nuts. Gone. And in order to get him to eat more and more regularly, I've been adding just a little bit of soft dog food, so it's it's something really good mixed in with the regular crunchy kibble that he normally eats.
Yeah.
But if I don't do that, the same bowl of food will last him 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
My daughter came back with this dog from Montana.
Yes.
Oliver, I bought him a crate and all kinds of cool toys. He's very particular with his toys, and I bought a 5-pound bag of dog food. My daughter came back from Montana January 8th.
Yes.
I'm not even down to the bottom third of that one 5-pound bag.
Wow. That dog eats less than my outdoor cat.
Right. It's nuts,
And weighs
dude.
less.
It's crazy because I worry about him. I mean, he's a small dog. He's a 2-pound dog.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, you gotta eat something, man.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a vet, but I mean, you said that dog is really quite light.
Oh yeah, it's a very small dog.
And it may not eat a lot.
And it doesn't, and it's probably fine. But he grew up in a house that had another dog that is a Cocker Spaniel. So there's a little bit of competition. Of course, the Cocker Spaniel is much larger.
Yes.
And there was always a competition of food and attention. And here, Oliver doesn't have that competition. So he's all chilled out, and he's kind of like a cat.
Other than the fact he goes bonkers anytime there's a noise.
Anytime there's a noise. If my chair creaks, or if I go into the other room in my bedroom, if I go to the bathroom or whatever, he's wanting to be he wants to be wherever anything is being active. Any activity. Anyway, hey, it's time for a joke, man.
I could use a joke.
And at the beginning of the show, I teased this is an engineer joke. Being an engineer, I think this is it's very funny. It's funny to me. And I hope that you find it equally as funny.
Okay.
An engineer, a statistician, and a physicist are out hunting. They spot a buck, and each take a turn to try to bag it. The physicist goes first. He pulls out his lab book and quickly calculates the trajectory of the bullet, assuming it is a perfect sphere in a vacuum, and the bullet falls 20 meters short of the deer. Huh. The engineer goes second. He pulls out his engineering pad and his book on projectile assumptions. After a few minutes, he's ready, and he takes aim, squeezes the trigger, and it fires. The bullet lands 20 meters past the deer. The statistician triumphantly leaps in the air, shouting, "We got it!" That's funny to me because a statistician, you can bend data to reflect any solution that you want.
I got it.
All right. Thanks, Al. I appreciate it. So we've got a couple of really cool guests coming. First one is coming up tomorrow, and it's Miyoko Hajiki. Miyoko served as an enlisted soldier in the Army and Iowa Army National Guard for nearly a decade, and she deployed for Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003 and 2004. Her job duties included truck driver, unit correspondent, and administrative sergeant. During the deployment, she ran supply convoys as well as security and raid missions throughout the northwest quadrant of Iraq. Simultaneously, Miyoko wrote a company newsletter, contributed to her support squadron's newsletter. She wrote articles for a hometown newspaper and updates for the unit's family support group back in Iowa. Upon her return from Iraq, Miyoko wrote her company's deployment history for the archives at the Gold Star Museum on Camp Dodge, an Iowa Army and Air National Guard state headquarters. Miyoko is also the author of All I Could Be, My Story as a Woman Warrior in Iraq. So she's going to be joining ICE tomorrow night for the Monday edition.
Very nice.
Now, I'm really kind of excited about this one. We have Brigadier General Patrick Donahoe. Brigadier General Donahoe is a native of New Jersey. He received his commission in May of 1989 through the Army ROTC training program at Villanova. Brigadier General Donahoe holds a Bachelor of Arts in History, a Master's in Advanced Military Studies, and a Master's in National Security and Strategic Studies. His military education includes the Armor Officer Basic and Advanced courses, and is a graduate of the United States Navy Command and General Staff College and Senior Service College Fellowship at Harvard. Brigadier General Patrick Donahoe is currently serving as the Deputy Commanding General of Operations, 8th Army in Korea. And he will be joining us on Sergeant's Time this Thursday to tell us about the upcoming 75th 8th Army anniversary. So that's going to be awesome. Got a heavy hitter on the way. Make sure you're here on the 28th, which is Thursday. Also, I'd like to mention War Horses for Veterans. War Horses for Veterans is a 3-day equine therapy program in Stillwell, Kansas. The program is free to all combat veterans. Should I say that again? It's free to all combat veterans. This includes airfare, lodging, and meals. You're not a nickel needs to come out of your pocket. Once you sign up, you get vetted. They're going to send you an airplane ticket. They're going to fly you to Kansas. They're going to pick you up at the airport, put you up in a nice hotel, and you're going to spend some time with the horses. Now, you learn how to handle the horses. You learn how to ride the horses. You don't have to do any of these things. You can just, go there, hang out with your buddies. And the goal of this is to go and get your squad together, get guys in your platoon together, and go and spend some time together in a very non-stressful environment. You're going to eat well. You're going to be treated well. It's extremely relaxing. It allows you time to get out of your head. While you're there, also one of the goals of War Horses for Veterans is networking. They put you in touch with other organizations and other people. There's the family of War Horses for Veterans is massive, and it's growing. They've got Navy SEALs that'll come out and talk to your group. Folks that are already there that are, it's just great. It's just great. There's not enough that I can say about War Horses for Veterans, man. It's just great. So go ahead and give them a shout out. Go to facebook.com/War Horses for Veterans to learn more. Oh my gosh, what a good show, man.
It has been. Oh, you want to give the results of your poll?
Oh yeah, bubble wrap. Yeah. It's the bubble wrap poll. Bubble wrap was accidentally developed while attempting to develop wallpaper.
Really?
How crazy is that?
That is. Very crazy.
So as we sign off, do you have any parting thoughts for our awesome audience?
Well, for our awesome audience, my parting thought is I go back to this theme a lot. Keep life simple. Too many things are going to be thrown at you in life that will try to suck you into complication and sophistication. But the wisest people and the more learned people realize that simple is the best way to live, because simple means that you, at that point, are just you.
I was just kind of soaking that in.
Thank you.
So I've got one, and I think this is pretty cool. Some of the coolest things were said or were versed like years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This one is back in 1859. The only freedom that deserves the name is that pursuing our own good in our own way, so long as we do not attempt to deprive others of theirs or impede their efforts to obtain it. Said by John Stuart Hill. And the book is called On Liberty.
Very nice.
So, there we are. Let's see. We got shows 5 nights a week. Monday is the Monday edition. Tuesday is Tied Up Tuesdays. Minx is back. Sorry you lost your Tuesday show, but Minx is back. You can always join me on Sundays.
I enjoy working with you on Sundays.
So let's see. Wednesdays are Don's a day. Thursdays, Sergeant's Time with Ice. Fridays, no show until we get a host for a Friday show. Saturday is Tinfoil Times with Jay Rady, Mulder, and Pookie. Jay Rady's on a leave of absence right now. He will return. That date is to be determined. And then Sunday, you can always join us 2000 hours Eastern here for Kicking It with Kaz.
That's us.
That's us, man. All right, everybody. You guys have a great week. Stay safe. Make good decisions.
Shots.
Take care, everybody.
Here's a shot out of a cannon. Oprah, Barbara Walters, your wife. You gotta fuck one, marry one, kill one. Go.
I think we're done here. Thank you.
Disney.
Disney.
In radio. WTF Nation Radio.